worth.
I should have worn a better
Say
bra.
no, everybody. Mwah! And as you can see, I have some of the most awesome people, and we're just getting started. We have the most amazing, awesome king of the intelligence community right here. The guy's bio is so redonkulously impressive that you're just going to have to like Google and take it in because I just can't even express. So, and of course we have Drew, y'all's favorite supreme heretic, and our humorous and adorable Steven Seagal. I keep forgetting this is nerd.
Howdy.
Finally, a woman called me adorable. Life is turning
You
Millhouse.
you are absolutely adorable. Like, anywho.
Like a Weight Watchers point.
Oh, that's terrible. You should not say such things about yourself, but the way you do it is funny. And I'm really and Culture Casino is already in the audience, and he is getting straight to it. And this is a question, of course, for the Lieutenant Colonel.
So, thank you all for having me. It's good to be on with y'all. So, do you want me to just go ahead and jump right into this, or do you want to?
Oh, yeah, Culture Casino likes to jump right into it.
Okay. So, as I tweeted today, some of you probably follow me on Twitter. I talked about several things that Joe Biden is telegraphing to the Chinese, which is very dangerous. Now, I am not, if anybody's read my books, I'm not like a big pro-war guy, but I'm a big, like, you don't want to let the other side think that you're weak because they're going to take advantage of it. And that's just kind of the way the world works. So one of the things that we've made very clear under the Trump administration was, Taiwan is going to be Taiwan, the Republic of China. And we've been defending the equities of Hong Kong because Hong Kong, when they were melded back into China, the agreement was they would remain democratic. Well, those two things have been challenged. And the biggest issue today was, or I should say yesterday, when Joe Biden did his town hall, he basically said, oh, Uyghurs, no big deal. That's just a cultural difference. It's just a cultural difference. All the camp thing, don't worry about it. It's just culture because they just want to have control. He actually used the fist. Well, he wants control. So it's like, I don't think that's not like what America stands for. Last time I checked, it's like, we don't really support
not supposed to be.
Camps, and we don't support, the idea of putting people in boxcars and taking them away and killing them. I'm just saying, I don't think it's in our interest. But exactly. So that's the first thing he said, which is really kind of open the door. Secondly, he said he's not going to challenge them on Hong Kong because, he wants that, one country, fist. And then most importantly, to what I think we need to concern about ourselves about is Taiwan. Taiwan is something that Chinese have been looking at pulling back into their quote unquote larger governance. And those are the things that I think that are on track at this point based on Biden's own comments. And I think that that's what we have to be concerned about. We're going to see a lot of businesses go back to buying cheap stuff from China, which no doubt is not in our interest. No. I'm a big supporter of American manufacturing. As a matter of fact, you may laugh at this. I'm actually working with Rutgers University Business School on trying to find a way to set up a mechanism for manufacturing American and buying American. Now, Rutgers is not conservative. They're just, they just want to figure out what's best for America. God bless them. But we've recognized the supply chain issues and the way they dump cheap merchandise into the American economy is not in our interest. So that's the things those are the things we have to worry about.
Yeah, I think everybody has a lot of people have a short memory because they were sending us a lot of lead contaminated stuff for a while.
Yeah.
Lead contamination, a lot of people don't realize how absolutely not neurotoxic that is, but lead settles into your bones and can have long-term effects. And that's just not healthy. That's just not good business. I'm sorry.
Well,
I mean, not to mention all their I don't know how to pronounce it. It starts with, it looks like the word Ugar is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uyghurs.
But they've been putting them in
Uyghurs.
Camps and then claiming that no such camp exists when they apparently don't realize that satellites exist. So I'm pretty offended by any idea that involves rounding up people and putting them in camps. I mean, history has shown us that's never the right side of history ever.
It
So
it,
I
se-
like, huh?
it seems to me, and I wanted to ask you this, Lieutenant Colonel, because like, what's the difference between what the CCP is doing with the Uyghurs and what people like in the past, like Ceausescu, done with ethnic cleansing? I mean, it
There's
doesn't
no
seem
difference.
like, yeah. So we were tough on Nicolae Ceausescu. Why are we not being tough on Xi?
So I don't believe President Trump was strong enough on China. I think he was moving in that direction because I think we were understanding more and more what we needed to do. No, the Uyghur population, and they're basically Muslim. Now, I'm one of those who believes that if you have radical Islam, you should deal with that. And full disclosure for your audience to know, I deal with a group called the Association of British Muslims. They're based in Birmingham, England. They want to rid uh, Islam of violence. So I work with them
They got
because
the bad seeds.
they
Yeah.
had the same. And the Uyghurs are not fundamentally like separatists. And so the reason the Chinese are doing this is because they just don't like Muslim. And that's not a good reason to get rid of them. Now think
No.
about the contrast here. Joe Biden and the Democrats are always promoting Islam, except for China. Oh no, China, you can deal with it. Now think about that. It's like but
It's hypocrisy.
the
They're
camps
basically scared to
the
do anything to
camps
it.
are designed to either basically do two things. Either you are re-educated and you become Chinese without the Uigurism, or they kill you. Pretty much that's it. And the other thing that we tend to overlook for big tech is that big tech benefits from slave labor and prison labor. One of the reasons that they have such low production is like, yeah, you basically disagree with someone, you put them in jail, they become a resource. So the idea that we support through our purchases, that's I don't own any iPhones or iProducts. I'm not a big fan of Apple.
I'm an
Uh,
Android girl.
I
Yeah.
try to use
I'm
BlackBerry
Android.
in Canada. So, I mean, I actually too my, but that's part of the issue is that we've supported the very evil that China has become based on our
We
economic.
are all guilty of it in some fashion. It's so hard to
Mhm.
avoid, though. So many things are made in China. It's
It
such
is.
a
It's,
hard
it's
thing to
difficult.
avoid. It
It's
really
very
is.
difficult.
Can I ask a question kind of related to this? It's going back
Sure.
to the statement made earlier. When Moira said the right side of history, does that even make sense? Because is there even a right side of history, or is there just history?
Well,
No,
I mean, there
or
kind
is
of
there
is. I mean,
is there a history to that teach us to not repeat it? That
well,
makes
yes,
it.
I feel that like let's say with Stalin, 70 million were murdered. I think that's definitely the wrong side of history. The evil because YouTube censors and gets iffy about the German bad guy, so we can't call it what they
The
were.
Yazis. They call
What?
We use the
Yeah,
word
they call them
Yazi.
the
Okay,
Nazis.
but
We can't
that's.
call them what they actually are because
Uh,
YouTube censored it.
uh,
Over 6 million killed there. Pol Pot, I think he was close to 20 million killed.
I
I mean,
think I
I'm
should have
sorry, there is
restated.
no context where that is the right side of history. It's just not.
Moira,
We
I
have
think I.
our own share of history we shouldn't have done. Americans should not have put Japanese Americans in internment camps. We shouldn't
Okay,
have. That was
I
their
think I was
fault.
misunderstood. What I meant to say is the terminology of right side of history. Yes, I agree and respect what you're saying now, but I was trying to say the way it's being used now is not the same type of meaning
No.
and harshness as what I was trying to say that it was in the past. That it's been twisted.
Oh, I mean it the good old fashioned way.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, but I'm saying
Yeah,
like history in general is a lesson to learn so mankind can better
absolutely.
itself, whether if you're coming from a Star Trek point of view or not. But the way it's
You
used
gotta speak that
now,
teenage
the right
there.
side of history, is it the same meaning, or do you think it's being used to warp a certain
I think
point
with
of view?
I think with a lot of terminology in the last at least 5 years, I think there's a lot of double speak, and I think there's a lot of ways they're changing. Like, oh well, okay, I'm the girl in here, so I'll say it. Feminism isn't what it used to be. Feminism was about the right to choose whether if you wanted to work or stay at home and be a mom. The right to be able to, take care of yourself if need be, to vote how you chose, all this. Now it's a bunch of Gucci wearing uppity white women with these stupid pink hats marching for rights they already have and acting like they're the ones that are oppressed, taking the voice away from
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
that
no, no.
actually are
Let me
oppressed.
throw that in there. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we're bringing in a number of strong women to our think tank. One of them is Kim Klacik. Kim and I spoke to Kim the other day. As you know, she ran for Congress in Baltimore, and liberal men are afraid of her because she's a strong woman and black, and she's just going to say her own thing. Part of the problem is the narrative has been controlled by the mainstream media, and they've been trying to essentially change what being on the right side of history is, because according to them, all history is bad, and we're only now starting to look at things, and it's really evil the way they've done it.
I don't. That astounds me. Yes, there is a lot of history all over the world, the United States, all over the world. Nobody's hands are clean. I will give it that, absolutely. But that you can't say that all history is bad. That's ridiculous.
No, I agree with you. I'm not. I
The fact
agree.
I mean, as far as rights, yes, it's astounding that I believe Native American women were the last to get the right to vote. I think that's insane. Absolutely. You know,
Well,
the
the
way
Democrats
we
opposed the
treated
vote,
the
too.
Irish, the way we treated black people, the way we treated Chinese immigrants, all of it in its history is shameful. But that changed. So if it changed, it must be good. It is good that they have rights to vote, that people can, be, for the most part, or at least for now, protect their homestead and everything else. These are good changes. And so to say all of it is bad, it's as though the last 150 or so years hasn't even happened.
Yeah.
But
So and I'm usually a very negative person, and I'm even astounded by this. And I'm astounded by my green screen that is messing up again. Sorry, everybody.
I took mine down for this. I actually have one up behind me.
I would, but my wall is red, so it would look like a broke down, like, Victorian bordello. Mm. Oh, I did want to tackle a couple things. What?
So do you want me to answer this other thing real quick as a follow-up, since I
Yes.
touched on it? What are the effects of slavery and human trafficking on the global economy? Well, slavery, I think, has been something, as you all alluded to. It's like a lot of countries, third world countries, are essentially using labor, very cheap labor, and American companies take advantage of that. And I think it's something, this is what I find interesting about the progressive side. The progressives talk such a line of BS about, oh, we're all concerned about all these really great causes, but the very things they do ignore human suffering in all these other countries. And I've been appalled to see how they ignore this, to include Africa, the Middle East, all these other places. I work with a number of women's rights groups. As a matter of fact, you guys can check our London Center social media. One of the things we're doing right now is with Congressman Scott Perry. Scott has introduced the Empower Our Girls Act, which is against female genital mutilation. Why is it that we're the ones speaking up on this? Why isn't the left out there trying to change slavery, the abuse of women? We're going to have Rick Grinnell on soon. Rick and I are going to talk about the abuse of homosexuals. It's like, I have never cared in my life who you sleep with. I just don't. It's never been an issue for me.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I
don't
really
think
are.
that ever
target
could
someone
even be
because of
illegal.
what they believe. It's like, it's bad. But the left doesn't really address any of this. They talk about it, but they don't do anything. So
do you think
Yeah.
it only matters to, let's say, the left? I don't usually like using left or right because it doesn't matter to me at this point. But
Yeah.
do you think the reason why they don't use this is only because it's there when they need it as a billboard
Yes.
or propaganda to win the attention of people thinking and giving false hope, then never following through, which is pretty much a mindset of a lot of politicians. And it's the statement for the people is no longer a statement that is meaningful. It's like saying "In God We Trust" on a dollar bill. It no longer means that. It's just a statement, and people are blanketed by it.
So I agree with you. That's the issue, is that the left is better at it. I think that both sides do it. I'm not defending the conservative side, but I'm saying, as a matter of fact, the conservative side I belong to is much more populist. I align myself much more with Tim Pool than what was George Bush's guy, Karl Rove.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are nuts.
Well,
But I think each side will say what it has to get someone motivated to do something. I mean, let's face it. Biden said a lot of shit to get elected. And now he's always, oh, no. To student loans, no. I'm not gonna forgive that. So it's all about trying to say things to get them to do something, to motivate you to do something, and then just not going to do it. And I think it's both sides to it. So, but I think that the progressives are far worse about it than I mean, the people I work with actually do try to follow through and do something about it.
See, I'm in Canada, so I don't have the American political feel that's going on, and I got my own issues up here. But when we first had the issues happening back in March, I'm disabled, right? So I have to survive off the disability program because of the physical injury I got from a car accident. And when they started doing like the way you guys did, the surplus checks or the supplement checks to help with people who couldn't work because of the lockdowns and all that, we had our premier. Everyone else said that the state of living is $2,000. We could apply for it if we were disabled, if we qualified, but then they would claw back half of it, or claw back all of it, or take away our benefits. So if the whole thing is the state of living is this amount, why is it people that have physical disabilities or mental disabilities are treated like such scum and garbage? And this is worldwide.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I'm with you. I mean, I people deserve decency, respect, and the right to exist. And I don't understand why we have not fixed. You know, one of my former assistants worked in the Indiana school system, and she was a big Clinton believer until she figured out that a lot of the things the left says they just say, but then fade away. She's worked in a number of programs to try to get real things instituted for people who have handicaps and needs. And that's my issue. It's like, I'm all for working for that. Look, I've got a degree in environmental studies. I believe in saving the environment. I don't believe CO2 is a gas. It's not a pollutant. We have issues with plastics. Men aren't even men anymore because there's so much plastic in the environment. The sperm count is dropping. You know, you go into San Francisco, there's a bay full of plastic. Those are environmental issues.
A lot of those chemicals cause hormone disruptors.
Yes, I mean, it's like, so all I'm saying is that there should be a group of folks who set aside any political differences and deal with your issue, deal with these other issues based on objective fact. And I think the other thing I would, maybe you'll agree with me, maybe not, they try to strike an emotional chord to motivate people. They'll say something to motivate them emotionally, and then when it comes time to do it, it's like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
But that doesn't make sense because most of these people that spout this stuff don't look like they have any emotion at all.
They
don't. Well, I agree with you.
It's like listening to a Borg hive queen talking, and yet they're not talking to us; they're talking at us like we're a cube.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I had to do the Star Trek. I'm sorry.
It's the collectivist mentality, Stephen, and the problem is I mean, if you think about it, for years, the game that's been happening is, you know, when I was growing up, I was born in '74, and I'd grown up through the '80s. You know, most Republicans and a lot of the moderate Democrats were, you know, like Christians, and they used the Christians as the primary voting group. And then when they started to get some people that started to think differently, well, that switched, and then the Republicans kind of kept the Christians, and the Democrats started pushing toward, well, we're going to work on the minorities and, you know, people that we can influence as far as you know, immigrants coming to this country, things like that. And now it's turned into a big political game of chess. So they use these. I
think a lot of that shit started with LBJ, and if I heard somebody
there,
I'm super sorry.
No question.
I'm not going to repeat what I heard he had said about getting the black vote.
Oh yeah.
You can imagine it's not nice.
No, it's 100%.
Right.
But a lot of this is giving it lip service, but really and truly what they're doing is just using these groups as like voting shields. So they know that they can say whatever they want. They know that they've got these votes in their back pocket, and then they don't have to follow through on the policy when they actually get elected.
Exactly.
You know, and a friend of mine came up with an idea, and I liked it, that like on the voting ballots, like they should not have an R or a D next to it, like just the name. So you can't just be checking off just because it's the party you want. Because even if it's the party you like, it doesn't mean that every person in that party is worth a damn. It's not. They're not. Like you
Well,
have good and bad in any group.
well,
And
listen, I'm sure that we all know because we're all pretty common sense thinking people here. We know that nowadays the two parties are run like corporations as it is anyway. I mean, that's just the way it is. They are run
Right.
like corporations. They have boards, the whole nine yards. So, they are thinking more corporate than thinking in the best interest of the people.
But the people are who they're there for. The
Hmm.
people voted them in. So when was that lost?
Yeah.
well, it all starts on a local level a lot of
Yeah.
times because a lot of your politicians come
Oh,
from a
yeah,
state
yeah.
and they move on up. And so it's Oklahoma's fault, it's Texas' fault, it's I'm Vanna. We're going to get into some Sheila Jackson shit here in a little bit because oh good God, because
Yeah, yeah, that's
because
wacky.
he tweeted about HR 127 and I'm like, let me go look that up and oh my God, that's a lot of word salad. But basically, I think you're left with a crossbow, a cap gun, and any kind of gun that only shoots 5 bullets. Holy shit, that's just
Yeah, it's insane.
about the crunch of it.
They
Like
want to
you-
register
you-
430 million firearms.
yeah.
Yeah. I do want to add. I do want to shift gears for a quick second, and we'll get to Culture's point here in a minute too. I wanted to ask you, Tony,
Yeah.
more of a question of like strategy, and that is the way that things are looking with China right now. I know at least we were okay under President Trump, but I'm kind of concerned about our assets and forward bases in the South China Sea.
Yeah.
Now, what is going to happen? Are we going to start capitulating to China and closing some of those bases and pulling back some of our assets? Because I don't think that that is a good measure on the level of security. It just makes it less secure. It makes people in that region less secure.
I do. I mean, I know this was aimed at him, but maybe just like pull back a little, but not completely, because I know that if we had foreign ships kind of hovering around our harbors, I would feel like that was an intimidation tactic.
Well,
And I mean, I'm not saying showing a strong sense of force isn't a good thing.
No,
But
it's not showing force, Moira. It's
no,
the
let me
assets we already have.
let me address this because I actually had to back when Rand Paul ran for president. I actually debated him with John Stossel on the air, and this issue came up regarding sea lanes. Who's going to control the sea lanes? Should we waste all this money? And so my position was, as it is then, because he's saying, "Oh, well, why should we do this? This is money that we could spend elsewhere." And my answer was, if not us, then who? If we don't actually have the investment of maintaining forward bases and sea lanes, then who? And I can tell you, even though people have problems with us, we have been a fair arbiter of the law of the sea. We do our best as a country to make sure that everybody gets a fair shot. Let me tell you, if we pull back and don't have the bases, I don't think you're going to like what China's going to do, because China's going to try to roll in there pretty quick and try to fill that void. Nature abhors a vacuum, and trust me, they're going to roll in. So there's a couple of things I think we tend to forget about. Even whatever we do, there's other countries that get votes.
Yeah.
So one of the things I try to explain to people is China at this point is not so much, yes, they're communists, but they're nationalists first.
Yeah.
We did a study a few years ago for Boeing for Phantom Works, their little shop,
Yeah.
and our assessment, we became China. The old think tank I belonged to, we became China. We basically pretended we were China to look at the world from their perspective, and our conclusion was, China is simply trying to re-insinuate itself to the level it was at its maximum size of empire, and their belief is, we're older than y'all. We have the right to go back out and just take over. That's what they're doing. That's what
Tony, does that mean Hong Kong is that first step?
Well, of course,
Yeah.
it's gradual. Yeah, and so there you see that, and then Taiwan, they're going to do it, and so what they're trying to do is again re-insinuate themselves, but this is their challenge. Other countries have votes besides us: South Korea, Japan, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, and the biggest bear on the block, so to speak, India.
Yeah.
Look at what's going on in India right now. All that unrest,
Yeah.
it's got Chinese fingerprints all over it because their largest regional competitor, with or without us, is going to be India.
Yeah.
And the other thing, there's a place called the Straits of Malacca. Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
All the oil from the Middle East going to China goes through this very narrow strait. And if India ever wanted to prove a point, they would take their Navy and Air Force and they would shut down all the oil from the Middle East. And China has, any given time, according to my intel sources, about 2 to 3 weeks of petroleum. And you could shut their economy down very rapidly as a method of getting their attention. So my belief is, based on being a military planner studying China, if we ratchet back, will it be bad? Absolutely. But we're not the only ones in the region who has a vote on dealing with China. My belief is we should maintain very strong relationships with all those other peripheral countries. Look, I'm a big fan of Vietnam. Vietnam has done a lot to modernize itself and move forward. I think there's some, India is a democracy. We should be working with them as a democracy more. So there's some potentials here that I think Mike Pompeo was acting on.
Yeah.
I just don't see Tony Blinken continuing that work.
Since you brought Mike up, I also want to, it's kind of a two-parter. Your thoughts on the whole being banned from the country? I believe that's what's just happened, I believe, or he was banned.
I don't think Mike was going to go get any Kung Pao chicken anytime soon. Just saying.
And the second thing is, do you think they are trying to leverage the Olympics to get their way, even if it's a subtle amount? I hear them talking about that. I'm like, that's so weird that they're so focused on it.
Yeah, no, for some of this is prestige. Remember, the Communist Party is looking for one of the big issues regarding COVID was the embarrassment. If they could stand up and take credit for it and not have embarrassment, they would do it. They don't care. But it's all about this prestigious saving face. It's part of that is the culture of the Far East. So
it's like Klingons with honor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My biggest worry was, I don't want this to turn into another it's similar to the way that Japan approached it in World War II, and I don't want to see another sort of imperialistic expansionist type of thing happen where China's like, well, we're just going to take over the Pacific.
But
well, that's what they're going to do. That's what they've said in their doctrine. The military doctrine has actually stated that their desire militarily is to sustain control and expand it to the entire Pacific Rim. That's what they're going to do. So
are they? This is going to sound messed up, but do you think their way of trying to get footholds is through the way Hollywood and movie industries run now?
So they have used effectively what we call soft power, and they do it through media, and they do it through essentially buying local governments. In Africa, they build infrastructure, and they do all these great things, and they get in there commercially, and then they start funding politicians. Where have you heard that before? And they do the same thing with Hollywood. Come on, Mulan. Geez.
Oh, come on. The credit scene was fun. Yeah.
They took the star of was it The Last Jedi, because China didn't like a black guy on the poster. Oh no, we don't.
Oh yeah.
They shrunk down Finn. They also got rid of the love story. Yes.
So yeah, of course. And then I think there's more of that coming where, Hollywood. Can I say there are a bunch of like streetwalkers? Can I say that? Like Hollywood and the people produce Hollywood, there are a lot of streetwalkers there? I'll get in trouble for that, I know.
Okay.
Vendors?
A lot of people in Hollywood are absolute bunch of two-bit backstabbing prostitutes.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So basically, they're going to look, if they can get money from a foreign source, they're not going to care.
I want to share something really quickly, and Moira, I'm going to share this. This was a story that I wrote back in 2019, and this kind of just touches on our point, folks. And this is Chinese company Tencent expands reach in Western entertainment markets. This speaks to exactly what we're talking about, because they partnered with Disney. They have a huge stake in gaming, and I just want to show you and mind you, the list I was going off of, this was 2019 at the time, but you look at here, they 100% own Riot Games, 100% Shark Mob, 84.3% Supercell. Path of Exile, Grinding Gear Games, 80%. Epic Games, 40%, even at that time, which has since increased, by the way, to about 55%. Funcom, big gaming developer there, 29%. And then, it goes on from here. Like if you're a PUBG player, Bluehole, they had 11.5% then. That is up to about 15% now. So,
Drew, can I ask a question with that quickly, though? Is this just ownership, or is this because the way also China works, from my understanding, when it comes to the gaming and getting your IPs into China, is that you have to go through companies like Tencent and etc., especially with Blizzard. When that whole debacle happened, you remember that with Blizzard and that player and the banning, that you have to go through one of these set companies so your IP can actually be sold in China.
Well, yeah, they've got a semi-monopoly on the market as well. But look at this, like, you guys think it's just video games. It's not. Obviously with Disney, it's Tencent is huge in the movie industry. And then we're talking, like, if you use Discord, they got 158 million in funding late 2018. Reddit, 150 million investment by Tencent in 2019. So, just to give you guys a frame of reference, Tony, what Tony's referencing is exactly right. And this is a form of warfare in and of itself.
Absolutely. And they're going to continue it. I think this is where they understand the ownership of these means of messaging are going to continue to be refined to whatever purpose they assign to it. And they get plenty of time to do it. So this is what we see. And I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that as China decides it wants to do certain things, they're going to do more. It's going to become more and more disruptive. Right now, it's very low key. It's very subtle. But there's there's a show. I'm going to geese here a little bit. Okay. That I just watched recently. I missed when it first ran. Was a show called Jericho, and Jericho was about and there were some themes in there they never quite got to. One of them was China. They never, because I think they were just hitting their mark in season 2, but China's role and whatever happened was never really cleared up. And I think there's some real issues regarding how China wants to not be portrayed as a bad guy. I don't think you could have made Jericho today and had China kind of in an abstract, were they good or bad?
Yeah,
China's good. China's going to be good. So I'm trying to use that as kind of a point of where they will do what they can now to basically take out any implication that China's not good. And we've seen it with the NBA. We've seen this with a number of things that I think people consume regarding entertainment. So
yeah, that's why I quit watching the NBA. And I'm a sports guy. I like sports. I grew up watching basketball, especially, and I just up and quit watching the NBA. Period. The only basketball I watch now is college, and my patience is down to about that much with the NFL. But I've stuck by them because living here in Cleveland, I've been a Browns fan since I was 5 years old, so I can't quit my Browns. But
I have a serious question when it comes to the sports, though. Have they gotten their fingers into mud wrestling yet?
Well.
Because that's a package I can't cancel just yet. Everyone needs a joke, Moira, and your turn. I apologize if that was inappropriate.
No, I think it's great. I'm just waiting until they get to the Jello shots on the bellies of the wrestlers.
The dodgeball league.
Yeah.
The dodgeball league. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
You can't make Jello shot jokes. You just can't.
Yes, you can. Just not strawberry Jello.
I think whoever made strawberry Jello has never actually tasted strawberry in their life.
I'm going to be moving after this stream. Just a heads up. I'm going to be moving to a far off place where no one can find me. No one
But also recently, not only has he tweeted, but we've been talking about, and a friend of mine who wanted to come on and meet you because she is a huge fan of yours, Mad Squirrel. That's her Twitter and YouTube name. She's awesome. She lives in Texas.
Well, we can do this again sometime. We don't have to make this a one-off. I mean, if you guys want to have me come back, I'd be happy to come back, and I enjoy the conversation. So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I definitely would be happy to have you back. I just didn't know if I'd be that lucky.
Yeah, no.
Do I have enough time?
I would rather have earnest conversations with folks than.
Well, these are things that are concerning folks. And
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, like these are things he tweeted about. But it was talking about the green power failures and what to expect.
Yeah.
And but isn't like the green power thing going on in Texas? That's only a fraction of where the energy is coming from, is it not?
So the two safest methods of manufacturing energy is essentially hydro and nuclear. That's it, and they're related because they spin turbines.
Right.
And outside of Chernobyl, the VBK reactors, all that stuff, that was an anomaly. And 3 Mile Island was an anomaly. So for the most part, and by the way, nobody died from 3 Mile Island.
Yeah, that was almost a meltdown because didn't the core fail?
There was some issues relating to the release of nuclear material, of contaminated steam. And that
Okay.
so anyway, what my point being is that we have the only country on the planet that's figured this out is France. Believe it or not, France is investing in nuclear and going all out. The renewables, I don't know which source to believe, but about between 20 and 25% of Texas power grid is now based on renewables. Renewables primarily being solar and wind. And I'm pretty sure during a snowstorm, there's no solar. I'm just saying, there's
Right.
Clouds not, cutting it off. And then in the environment they're in, where you have a lot of ice, propellers, airplanes don't fly or have de-icing on their propellers.
Right.
And so when you lose 25% of your grid and you have about a 10% surge capability, that's 15% you can't cover.
And I'm guessing the turbines were not properly prepared like they would have been if they had been in Minnesota, because nobody expected a snowstorm this big.
That's true. But I'm just saying that the presumption was you could turn a certain percentage of your grid over to renewables and not worry about it.
Yeah.
And I think that.
But she just had a power outage just a few minutes before we started, and she was so sad because she's a fan of yours and she's so wonderful.
Yeah, well, we can do this again. But Taylor, that's part of my point is that renewable energy is not ready for prime time. Alaska, I think anybody who wants to understand an extreme environment needs to look at Alaska, what they use for power. I don't think Alaska has a lot of windmills blowing, and I know they have extreme weather. So, what I think I'm not against. Oh yeah, we can't recycle the big blades. I'm not against renewables. It's just the cost of producing renewables is not included in their evaluation of how green is it, and then the disposal of the same things are not included in there. The creation of a Tesla car saves you nothing when you consider all the resources that goes into the battery, that goes into the plastics, everything. By the time you get down to the entire life cycle, you've not really gained anything. And the very energy you need to make these green energy things, you have to use fossil fuel. You have to burn and produce things to get there.
Tony, can I ask a quick question?
It's just not practical.
Can I ask something towards this then? If it's not practical, have you thought about, or do you know of any ways, or that could be a stepping stone to make it practical, even if it's a small step? Is there any company or foundation out there actually working at it?
It's just about investing in businesses who want to innovate and do things better. The government does not innovate. The government will take something. I don't know if you guys knew this. Did you know that the telegraph was offered to the government when it was first invented, and the government said, "No, we don't see any purpose for that." The telegraph is what actually helped settle the West. It was the telegraph lines with the trains, which actually helped, build our country out. I'm not here to judge the Indian issue. I'm just saying that the government is not a place for technology. So the idea should be is that if there's a need, that the commercial sector will create competition for purposes of achieving something. And I think Elon Musk is kicking NASA's ass in the space program because he's competing against them. So that's what we need, competition, so people innovate. And I would argue that if it becomes the cheaper the solar, the more efficient and cheaper it becomes, the more it becomes a direct competitor of fossil. At this point, it's just not there. So,
do you think there's not enough?
I think it would be well to do on the plastics if they would start, really just jumping into using hemp for plastics and for all kinds of things.
I'm all for that. No, I like hemp. I try to do everything I can naturally, as much as you can. I think that natural products, true renewables, are better, but the industry won't. Big corporations have convinced Congress to not force them to do that.
Wow,
So
that's a great point.
you're saying there's not enough healthy competition allowed to strive because it takes away not only the money that these corporations want and want
Yes.
to monopolize,
Yes.
they don't want. It's like the way, let's say, the way Twitter runs when you're trying to have a discussion with someone and they block you. They're doing the same thing, but to small business, to the
Yes, of
point
course.
where we can't evolve our practices to make it everyone benefiting because they're not coming out with it first.
They won't tell you this, but most major corporations cannot innovate. They have to go outside. They have to create small organizations or think tanks to help innovate for them, because after a certain point, any bureaucracy, I've seen this. I've lived this nightmare. If you read my book, bureaucracies. After a certain point of existence, a bureaucracy, 70% of a bureaucracy's effort goes to sustaining itself rather than doing anything else. So the moment a bureaucracy gets big enough, that's all it focuses on. So the things that can innovate and make things better, there's no interest. Like, no, they just want to basically build a bureaucracy. And I think that's why, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to ask you, have you found, or do you know anyone is starting to work on what you're discussing, even though they're not getting the voice? Are there companies out there trying to push for the better? Or
the answer
are they
is
all
I don't
getting
know,
appropriate?
because it's not something I spend any time on. I mean,
my
right
apologies.
now, most of my time is spent on system of systems, Second Amendment, some of the issues we work behind the scenes on regarding national security. I've been working on issues relating to Hunter Biden's laptop, trying to get some stuff out of that. I mean, we're not in, as much as I have a degree, I don't have the ability to work in that space right now, unfortunately. So if nobody wants to work with us, let us know. So
my apologies. I didn't mean to assume. You have great points.
I would love to be more involved in actually working that issue. I've worked with some companies trying to innovate with things like ammonia, things like building better and more efficient engines. I've done that, but it's one of those things that you only have so many hours a day. You only have so many people that can help work on policy issues. So,
one of the things I wanted to bring up to you, Tony, is the fact that recently we saw that stand down order to the military, to all branches, that they were going to basically
look for racism. I know.
Look for racism, look for extremism in the ranks. And the way that I interpreted that when I saw that is, well, we're going to kick out the patriots from the military.
So, let me address this in two pieces. First off, I know General Austin, the SecDef. I worked for him in Afghanistan undercover. I was as a matter of fact, I worked for him and McChrystal both. I was McChrystal's human support element in Task Force 121. Austin was commander of Task Force 180. And Austin, believe it or not, gave me my Bronze Star for my combat work. So, he let me do my job. I'll say that for him. I have a hard time being critical of someone who actually let me do my job. With that said, once you presume that something exists, you're going to find it. That's what they've done. It's like, they didn't even take the time. It's called confirmation bias.
Yeah.
And so what they've done is an exercise, an exact example of confirmation bias. Oh, there's extremism. Let's go find it. The first thing you do, if you really believe this exists, is you do essentially a study or evaluation. It's like, hey, let's examine this. Let's examine the trends, the actual complaints, the actual thing. But they didn't do any of that. Why would they not do that? Because I don't believe any of what they're looking for exists. But I'm telling you, because they've said it exists, they're going to go find it.
Yeah, well, I think my biggest worry is, and I try to talk about this on my streams where, I'm looking down the road, and in the picture that connecting the dots, at least the way that this looks, is that, well, step one, we're going to take anybody that would not potentially follow orders if we had to take action against our own civilian population, they're basically taking any dissenters out. And then number two, I feel like they're going to make the move to disarm the people. And then number three, if the people try to stand up, well, we're going to have a very tragic situation on our hands.
Well, the issue regarding the military essentially taking patriots out, I don't think it's going to work. I know that's what they want to do because the progressive left believes patriotism somehow is a bad thing, and I don't subscribe to that. But the idea here is that, again, I think they're going to go looking for things. And by the way, who benefits from a disrupted military? China.
Yes.
So that's what they're doing. They're trying to disrupt the military.
Lots of countries around the world would benefit. Yeah.
But I'm saying they're the biggest, and so
China and Iran.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I wanted to cover an Iran thing as well.
But the next thing is to the disarmament thing. I think Mari, you wanted to talk about HR 127.
Oh yes,
That's what they want to do. Basically, make it so that it's impossible to own weapons.
Yes. So Sheila Jackson of Texas. Oh my God! All right, there's so much word salad in that bill. I just had to cliff notes it because there wasn't enough room on the paper. But she wants you to have a license for ammo.
Yes.
She wants you to declare the exact location in your house where your gun will be stored. It could be a safe. You might want it in your bedstand. But apparently you have to let them know exactly where it will be at all times. There was mention of the Brady bill, which apparently I'm behind because I was pretty sure that was brought in during the Clinton administration. I thought it expired 10 years later. I guess they must have reenacted it. Whoops. They even want you to have a license to display your antique firearm. Oh my God. The gun classes, which cost money. Let's see. A firearm insurance, $800. And people they have clinical depression, which in the United States is approximately 17.3 million people that are suffering from it, are not to have a firearm. Just because someone has depression does not mean they have an urge to go kill themselves or anyone else. They're not necessarily a danger. And so they don't even, they've gone way beyond just like not letting felons have a gun. They want people who have depression, and not to mention money for gun classes, a license for ammo. Probably they want you to have a safe. That costs a lot of money. Firearm insurance, $800. So basically, the poor and disenfranchised in the community are the ones that are going to suffer from this bill. They're the ones that are not going to be able to protect themselves. It's only going to be the upper middle class and the rich that can afford to protect themselves.
Exactly.
That is absolute shit, Sheila Jackson. I hope you see me say it. Sorry. Sorry. I believe people should be able to protect their homestead. I get a little bit.
Well, no, everything you've just said is racist. I hate to say. No, it is.
Racist and disenfranchising to the poor.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, exactly. This is probably the most racist bill I've seen that's designed to disarm law-abiding minorities, law-abiding lower income folks. Everything that you just talked about makes it exorbitantly expensive. And when you talk about the inner city, you talk about individuals who have the right but lack of resources to defend themselves. This further makes it so that those populations are vulnerable. And just so you all understand, it's like I'm a very strong advocate of the Second Amendment. As a matter of fact, Mario, you just had our web page up. On our London Center webpage, we did a first-time gun owner video PSA with 6 hours. 6 hour, the company, Tom Taylor, their vice president for production, and I did a video on first-time gun ownership and Second Amendment. I believe that everybody should be armed and should understand how to use a weapon safely. I do.
I agree with being able to use a gun.
And I don't know if it's on there somewhere. If you guys go down, it's on there. But it's the first time gun ownership video. Go down a little bit further there. I think you'll probably see it at the bottom. Where we talk about the actual issues relating to what one should do to exercise their second. There it is, right there. At the very over here to your
left.
Over here to your left, my left. Your left.
The
The
Murray
very,
Case
you
one.
can say it says Sig Sauer at the bottom there. So anyway,
Okay, I was with 6 hours.
so my point being is that the HR 127 is designed to not only disarm, disrupt, and deprive individuals of their Second Amendment right, it's actually designed to disadvantage those who should most seek to be armed because they live in communities of essentially of threat, where a threat exists which they need to be prepared to deal with. So that's one of the things that I think the other side wants, is they want the chaos of the inner city. And remember, all these big cities that have all these gun problems, they have the strictest gun control. They have the strictest gun control in the nation,
And
they
it's done them no good.
yeah. So think about that. So
So only the law-abiding people are the ones that will be sitting ducks.
right.
And again, oh, hold on. Yes, classism. Absolutely. Absolutely, Christopher Kane. Yes, you'd be right.
Well, they trust me on this. It's classism, but it's also racism, because one of the things that the Democrat Party has always said, and remember, a lot of the early gun control measures were in the 1950s by the Democrats.
Yeah, a lot of it stemmed from the Jim Crow laws, because they
Right.
wanted, even though they were free, they wanted to find any excuse.
Exactly.
To
So
not be able
remember,
to arm themselves.
the fundamental roots of gun control is in the KKK racist South. Trying to prevent minorities from having guns. This is the ultimate. What's ironic here is a black woman is actually the instrument of the left's own work to deprive individuals who have this right from that right.
But I hate to say it, and I'm not sure if that's going to shut my channel down, but I feel like she's turned against her own ethnicity, her own party, where she, I don't know if she was born poor, but if she did, she turned her back on where she came from, and her ancestors and what they must have gone through, their right to protect themselves. And not to mention, if she's a representative of any kind, she has turned her back against us.
Well, yeah, but you got to remember, Moira, these folks, they don't stray from the narrative. They are 100% about our worldview is the best, and if you don't agree with it, then you're an enemy of the state, essentially.
Well,
if
you disagree with the left, and for those of you who follow me on Twitter, I'm either a racist or a bigot if I don't agree with their perspective.
You don't seem that way, sir. I have one question though. 50 cals are pretty dangerous, aren't they?
I have actually shot a 50 cal, and yeah, they're very dangerous. I mean, they're not a weapon you're going to run around and rob a 7-Eleven with. I'll just say that.
You don't really have them mounted in the cities either for protection, air quotes.
No,
right?
those
if I could afford, I'd have a turret on top of
those are primarily anti-personnel long range. I mean, you're talking about, and then anti-vehicle, unarmored vehicles, things like that.
I thought so.
And they're not very practical. I mean, it's like, well, we want to ban it. It's like, I don't even know. You may know this already. I can't think of a single criminal act that's been committed with a 50 caliber rifle.
Yeah, the only reason I can. Oh, we have another guest. I would love to introduce y'all to Shellback. I don't remember what he did in the Navy, but he's a Navy vet nonetheless. And so I would like to welcome him on. Hello, Shellback.
Welcome. Hail, Shellback, aka.
Hey, everybody. I was an aviation electrician for 10 years in the Navy. I didn't dodge bullets for a living like I'm sure Mr. Shaffer and his kind of people did, but nonetheless, I'm all for the same type of things that he is. I took that oath. I took that oath back in 1996. To support and defend, and it to me it doesn't have an expiration date.
Right.
Even though my obligation, my military obligation is long past. It's and especially the first two. the first and second, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to bear arms. The second one's, the second defends the first. And
Yep.
they're trying to take it away from us, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown, red, pink, purple. And I'm one of those people that I'm not really so much on board with the whole racism aspect, because I mean it's when it,
I think it's definitely
in all actuality, we're one race, it's the human race. Everything else is just an ethnicity, but it just so happens to be that a big percentage of the people that can be affected by things of this nature do happen to be minorities, because they are in those urban areas with the most strict gun laws and all that stuff. But it also applies to us poor white country bumpkins too.
Just so you know, the reason I bring it up in those terms is because as a guy who runs a think tank based in New York, I will take every opportunity to turn back on the left its own propaganda and its own rhetoric.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And so I agree with you. Look, I spent some time out in West Virginia and Western Pennsylvania, up in that area. And the people there are down to earth. I love being out there with them. Everybody carries guns. They're very comfortable in that. But the idea that you're going to basically turn them into criminals by making them pay all this money,
right?
There's fines
it's completely
right. And I've never been, I guess, not that it's a real claim to fame, but I've never been to jail whatsoever for anything in my life, right? And the fact that I would be willing to risk that, ruining that record or whatever you want to call it, by becoming a criminal, by purchasing a firearm out of, some dude named Manny, out of his trunk. If this goes through and they cause me to basically become an outlaw, that's what I'm going to do.
Our American Revolution, I mean, to simplify it in modern terms, our Constitution and everything was won, and our independence from England, by pot-smoking cop killers.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to break the law to free yourself of tyranny.
Well, I just believe that at this point, the idea that you're going to basically enforce, if you could ever create some sort of a method to enforce it, you're going to force people to register over 430 million weapons. And then you're going to go about trying to rein in the ammunition which goes with those weapons. And then it's not possible. And
well, isn't the Supreme Court going to step in, Tony, and tell them to shut up?
Look, the shall not be infringed. There's two things we're working on. And by the way, you guys can join us. I mean, we're looking for support and partnership. The London Center has a Second Amendment project. You guys go and see. We've had a number of interviews on this. We're partnering with SIG on first-time gun ownership. But the two issues we're working, the two issues we're working, which you all, I think, can completely get behind, is universal or nationwide suffrage. The idea is your Second Amendment right should mean the same in Utah, where you can carry, because the government's you can, it's constitutional carry. Your constitutional right in Utah should be the same in New York City, and it's not. So universal suffrage, that is to say that your First Amendment right works the same all across the country. Why doesn't your Second Amendment right? And I would argue that they've done that in such a way that they create this thing so that it's all about control. New York City, it's not about safety, it's about control, because there's gun crime there. It's even worse under de Blasio. So the first issue we're working is that is nationwide suffrage or franchise, that your Second Amendment works the same in all states. Secondly, the second issue is what we call MSR, minimum standard response. So if you go into a city and you believe that, hey, a guy is going to be armed with a 9mm pistol and may do something to you, you should have the right to have a 9mm pistol with as many bullets or more than he has.
Yes.
Because you see all these restrictions on magazines. Oh, you 10 rounds, like that's nonsense. I saw a video the other day of a guy in Montgomery County, a sheriff's deputy, put 12 bullets into a guy before he went down.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you know, I carry a 45 on occasion, and I make the choice of only carrying. It's a SIG 220. So it's like I make the choice of only carrying 9 rounds, and then I have 2 magazines. So I'd have to do a mag reload.
Yeah.
But others, if you want to carry a 15-round mag, you know, I got the P365. You can carry, you know, 12, 15-round mags.
That's what mine is. I've got the P250.
Yeah. So trust me, you need to be armed to the level you feel you can adequately respond to a threat. The government should not be telling you, oh, we can't trust you. You can only have 12 rounds. So this is what I'm saying. So those are 2 issues: universal franchise of your Second Amendment right, and your right to respond at your judgment to whatever level the threat is. That's it. Those are very simple things. And to me, the Supreme Court should automatically say these are the things that should be at the foundation of your Second Amendment right. And I think that should be the law, not this nonsense they're trying to shove down our throat with HR 127.
I have a weird question. I don't know if it's kind of related or not, but it comes from the terminology systemic racism. I'm not trying to like go way off topic here, but
are you using your white privilege to say it?
I probably am. I am very pasty. I haven't seen the sun in about a year, so I'm almost like powder, but I can't use spoons and magnetic forces. So I'm trying my best here. But when it comes to, I apologize for not being more celebrity.
No, I'm sorry.
I love it. I love it, sir. I love it. You have a great sense of humor. But I'm trying to say, when people use the terminology systemic racism, is it even racism? Because they don't even know what racism is, and they confuse it with stereotype. Do you think it's systemic stereotype or systemic fear? And they call it racism because they don't know how to actually classify their own insecurities.
No. They use that word for purposes of taking it over. The fear is the underlying effect they want. They want the fear because that gives them power. It's related. It's kind of one, then the other, and the other. So if you get everybody to believe, and I live
in white privilege. Yes, I do believe.
Yeah, I live in Northern Virginia. Talk about white privilege. I go out here. I drive through the intersections of some of the bigger populated areas, and you have all these white people with the BLM banners. Like,
God,
I was like, this is cringe, you know, dude. You know, you may want to actually get some folks to stand out there with you, but all these white people out there. I was up in New Hampshire for SIG. And out in the middle of New Hampshire, you had all these white people with this, like, yeah, it's not what you think it is.
No.
And they feed into this. They are reacting to and creating fear.
Well, I've often said that the era of progressive politics is the era of regressive politics.
Yeah.
And all it's done, it's taken all the progress. Actual organic, real progress that was made by the different, equality movements, which was, the old civil rights movement and, the old feminism movement and, even the movement for gay rights. And now you've had it taken and hijacked by a bunch of people that want to use it in such a manner that it then becomes, as Tony alluded to, an instrument of fear, an instrument of, almost superiority. So what they're doing is, via these social constructs and these principles that they try to explain, like critical race theory, things of that nature. What they're doing is almost building a secondary alternate reality and trying to convince you that this is your reality.
Yeah.
When it's really not. So essentially they're saying the sky is purple, but you walk out of your house knowing that it's blue, you see that it's blue, but yet the reality is supposed to be that the sky is purple. And it's either you buy into that or you're, a terrible person, you're an islamophobe, whatever.
I hate to geek here for a second, but what's that the episode with Picard, Lines of Force?
Yes.
where they want him to do the count the number of lights.
Yeah.
There are 4 lights.
Yeah,
There are 4 lights.
that's
That
what
was
they're
the
trying to get you to
Cardassian.
do.
Yeah,
They're
the
trying to
Cardassian.
get us to do that at a broader level. It's like no. There's racism. Really,
That's a great
There's racism.
analogy. That's a
But
great analogy.
the thing I also wanted to ask before that's still attached to the first question I was trying to ask is, do you think that they use this as a fear tactic? But are they projecting their own fear on the people, or do they actually believe what they're saying and it's truth to them? Because
I
there's
bet they
the definition
probably
of.
repeat it enough till they believe it.
Yeah.
There's,
I think
some,
that
there's some that are so far gone, it is the truth to them.
But the thing is,
I'm not a psychologist, but I think you have both. I think you have some who are just completely committed to it, and others who know it's a tool, and they use it as a political tool. Remember, that's why the Democrat Party uses racism, they use fear, and they use violence as political tools, far more than the conservative side. Far more than I'm not saying that they have it all, but they tend to use that.
So is it true that only the bullets are racist, not the guns?
Well, that's an interesting
All
concept.
right. I was going to say something and I just blew it all away. Oh, have you noticed the majority of the people who do not want you to have guns have 12-foot fences with fucking wire at the top of it and their own personal security guards?
Yeah, no, I know.
You have no right to protect yourself from people who have their own private security firms. Just
Well,
saying.
anyway, I got to drop off at 5:30. But is there anything else you want to go through real quick before I head out?
Oh, biscuits.
Just before we do, I just want to say, guys, everybody in the chat, thank you for coming out, supporting Moira's channel, enjoying the conversation with Tony. And by the way, guys, Tony is as much a part of the greater community, as much a part of the family.
All right, go ahead and geek out.
As we could want, because this man, he knows his Star Trek, he knows Star Wars, he knows Babylon 5, he knows Battlestar Galactica, which, by the way, we are going to have him on the Pegasus Actual podcast.
Yes, I'd love to do that. I love that. Yeah.
All right, so everybody just let your hair down and nerd out. Go for it.
It's been an honor getting to know you, Tony.
No, guys, hey, thank you for the look. You guys, you are the essence of what makes the country great. It's one of the things that people always get wrong. American exceptionalism. We're not better. We have the freedom. We have this freedom. We have the freedom of expression, the freedom to talk, the freedom to innovate. That's what anybody can be American. That's what's exceptional. And people tend to forget that. We are all exceptional by the fact we have this freedom. That's it.
We got a cool question from Christopher Kane.
Yes, Chris. I think if there's ever a revolution, I'd love to be in the front lines. I tend to.
That's awesome. Yes.
I tend to lead from the front. For those who've been with me in combat and military operations. So.
Well, this man, I could say, wonderful first impression, Tony. You, sir, are a great American. You're a patriot. Appreciate you. It was such a pleasure to get.
I enjoyed this. No, thanks. I really appreciate the time. And you guys are the first. I know people don't know this or are watching right now, but you guys are the first ones to ever actually ask me questions about all the pop culture stuff I love and actually work in. So,
I wish I had it live when that happened. So yeah, go for it.
I appreciate
it. It trust me, after this appearance, you're going to be a big hit around the community. So I'm sure that people are going to be asking left and right, hey, pop by, heck, you might even wind up being on with Jeremy or George 3PO or somebody. So
I love them. I've corresponded with them already. It's like I don't think they knew that I was actually like a real geek. I was like, hey, I'm a think tank guy. It's like, yeah, you're a think tank guy, whatever. So
yeah. Oh,
it's hard to get out of the stigma of what you actually
have a tendency to dismiss people. They kind of do.
Yeah. He's got full fandom menace cred, guys. Absolutely.
Well, thanks, guys. Well, I got to jump off. Thank you for having me. Please invite me back sometime so we can do this again.
Yes.
Is
it better to email you or Twitter you? Because you've been doing that.
Either. However you guys got it. You guys got my. If you follow me on Twitter, you can email me directly. Otherwise, you've got my official London Center email. You guys can do it that way.
What's your Twitter handle, Tony?
T Spooky. It's just a T with the spaces to Tony Shaffer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you look at my tweets, the T Spooky.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Talk to y'all soon.
Thank you.
Live long and prosper.
Wow, what?
Yeah.
And I didn't die or get
Yes.
queasy or faint. Look.
Yeah, I'm regretting a little bit showing up late to the party, but
Guys, great guest, Moira. Oh my gosh, the fact that you put this together. I mean,
I can't believe it. Actually, it was more him because I had like, because there's other times when I invited him on, but like at that, like on his tweets, but like at that particular moment, like he had like 400 responses and was getting into like a Twitter argument with some twat, and so he probably didn't see it. Happened to be one of the first couple of comments to a tweet he was doing. And I'm like, you know what? You should be on my live stream. You can say whatever you want. And he was like, he DM'd me. He goes, all right, let's do it. And I was like,
I'm just happy he likes Jello wrestling.
well, I want people to understand, for everybody that's disillusioned out there right now that feels like, we got a lot of fake politicians and people, in positions to, high level positions. Well, guess what? This should tell you that, whether you've got retired people, whatever, the people that know their stuff, like Lieutenant Colonel Shaffer, there are patriots out there fighting for you, and that will stand up when the time push comes to shove, and they will be hand in hand with the people. And I respect Lieutenant Colonel Shaffer for what he's doing and the things that he said. And man, I appreciate that.
I have to interject quickly. I think in the next one that Moira has Shaffer on, the hair has to stay down. I believe that has to be a mandatory thing.
Moira, and
I'm giving her a compliment. She did a good job. But like it all comes back to Moira, you did a great job. I know you were nervous, but he's still a human being. And the fact that pop culture is what everyone can talk about is great. He's not superhuman. He can just hurt you like a superhuman. There's definitely a difference.
That's still important.
Hail Jason C.
Yeah.
But yeah, got me with that white privilege though. That was good. I
yeah,
like that.
dude.
I know. I was like, oh my lord. I thought you two was gonna.
I was on best behavior. I was on best behavior. Trust me.
And the straight faced way that he did it, that right there, that is an example. That's an example of military training right there.
Not even that. It's the fact that he has a sense of humor. He can see between the bullcrap, and you don't get that.
I just need to shamelessly plug for them though. So hold on again. Just for
I suggest
my
people add him on Twitter if you haven't. Don't barrage him with private messages, but give his webpage a look at. And honestly, he seems just like everyone else.
Oh, he can filter through the inboxes pretty well. But yeah, that's their YouTube thing they got going.
Yeah. We should make him do a watch party of Batwoman and see how long until he never.
Oh no, don't do that to him.
That little quip though, that instantly made me think of, back when I was in the military, and we were always just busting each other's balls, but we would do it just like so straight faced with each other, like we were actually trying to insult somebody, but we weren't. We were just joking around. But
I can't believe I came back with a powder reference.
Yeah,
got it.
But that whole like that HR 127, right? And what it dude. I mean, if people can't see that for what it is, as a just a blatant, freaking authoritarianism type of shit.
That's absolutely tyrannical. And like I said, it's going to pretty much be the upper middle class and the rich. They're going to be able to afford it. Yeah. And the fines.
I forgot to ask him about my unicorn.
Yeah. It's like somewhere between $50,000, $75,000 for fines if you don't cooperate. And he was this handsome fella over here. Shellback's handsome too, but the guy who's comment I'm just highlighting. He was
don't lie to Shellback.
What the bill was about last night to prepare me for this, and I'm like, there's so much garbage in here. I just had to take cliff notes. I couldn't write it all. I was like,
but I mean, even now, like So, I'm not that I'm really that presentable to be on camera, but anyway.
Oh, whatever.
Everyone
So,
has a paper bag that fits.
my as I affectionately refer to my little girl hands here, right?
Yes.
I was at the local gun shop one day, just doing some window shopping because I'm poor and I can't afford to get anything right now anyway. Which is one of the points we talked about. I mean, there's a lot of us that, we're not going to be able to afford this crap. And even now, because I was looking at, some of the handguns they had, because that's one of the things I want to do, is I want to get my concealed carry and I want to get a handgun. Right now, all I have is a shotgun, right? And so anyway, I found a they had a 6-hour P320X, which is a compact 9mm, right? And it was almost like somebody took a mold of my hand and then made the gun, because it just fit that well, right? It just felt that good, holding it. And one of the things I liked about it is, it's got, the design of it, has a spot where you can have like a little laser sight on top and like a little flashlight on the bottom of it. I mean, it comes ready to go to be able to, accessorize.
You can like tack light, laser sight, and all that stuff with the actual slots.
And another thing is, it was a double stack. It had a double stack mag, and you could end up with 17 rounds, I think. Like 16 to 18 round pistol, right? Because it has a double stack mag, what they call double, because the way the rounds fit in that magazine is, it's like this, bam, 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 And these people want to take that security away from me, and I don't like it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So back to mud wrestling. What do you guys think? Should we get like a thick mud or kind of like a liquidy mud? What kind of mud should we work with the next? I really just wanted to see who would freak out first.
But
oh
I get
yeah,
what you're saying.
it's not just $800 for the license. It's $800 per weapon.
Yeah.
Which, again, just solidifies the fact that, first off, I am poor. I can't afford, I wouldn't be able to afford $800 for the gun itself.
Right. Which, speaking of which, that's what that gun shop wanted for that P320X was $800, and he said that's a good price. Damn, I've bought cars for $800. I mean, it's just, and they want to make them more expensive. They want to make these things more expensive.
Banging gears, you're gonna have to catch us on the replay. Like, you missed so much. But we're glad to have you.
Thank you for having me on, Mara. This was good.
Mwah.
Thank you. I can't mwah back because my lips don't move.
It's totally okay. I'll just assume mwah back.
I gotta hide my white privilege.
It was a blast. Thank you so much, Moira.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was so nervous. I was feeling queasy. I had Oreos for breakfast, or like.
Well,
Well,
the thing is we're, we love you. We're your friends, and we're just glad to be along for the ride with you. No place we'd rather be.
Can I put my pants on now?
What's up?
Can I put my pants on now?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Awesome.
Oh my god.
That's how you get someone to calm down. You make something so outlandish, Unless
you're wearing them tearaway pants.
Wait a minute, what?
Those are
rainbow tutu, for those extra flowy days.
What? We were supposed to be wearing pants for this?
There's an image I don't want.
Wow. Am I the only one wearing pants? Come on.
I like how Drew went off camera to double check.
Yeah. Oh, I just wrote
And
this
you're muted.
guy and told him we need to have him come back and visit so he can geek out about stuff.
We
Yeah,
should do the next one. Yeah.
I'm wearing pants because I got the police pants on. Man, I'm cold.
Yeah, it is cold. Aww, I don't believe that's true about my personality, but thank you. Now that's the kind of bullshitting I like, being cold.
Listen, Moira's a gem in this community, and again, thank you everybody in the chat for the support and for the well wishes because she deserves it.
I might not even have live streamed if he hadn't been like, heck yeah, let's do it. And I was like,
There's
oh
a
my
screenshot.
God, I had to pull my shit together. Oh God, I had to clean off the couch because the couch hadn't been used in a while. I was like, does my ring light still work? I was like, oh my God.
All right, well, I am gonna take off because I
Yes,
got.
Yeah, I think I think an hour and 20 minutes is an all right stream.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, mwah, to all of y'all, we love y'all. Mwah,
Folks,
mwah.
take care. Hail to you, Bruce Lombardo. We will talk soon because I gotta get with you and get a stream figured out with you and.
Are you going to be on the Wednesday tonight, Drew?
Yes.
This is true.
Tonight later on, Bounding into Comics channel. If y'all ain't busy at that point in time, I believe 9 p.m. Come over and watch Bounding live on the Bounding into Comics channel. Myself, John Trent, Spencer Bakuli, and of course Donald Edmonds will all be there. So catch us for Bounding live.
I was referring to the WTF Wednesday, but okay, that works.
And also catch Pegasus Actual Podcast tomorrow for on my channel. And Fat Steven, what was the WTF Wednesday for
Wes Moody.
Wes? Yeah, I'll probably pop over there after I'm done on Bounding.
And you can catch me on YouTube playing video games, trying to be funny, and watching Moira turning different shades of red when I say something outlandish. Next, on the lunch table. Thank you, people, for staying, watching, and supporting. This is one of those rare opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all excited.
Peace, folks. And subscribe to Shellback needs more subscribers. Subscribe to Shellback.
No,
Yeah,
subscribe to
give
Fat
Shellback
Steven.
lots of love.
No, subscribe to Fat Steven.
Yeah.
Oh, that too.
Yeah. And also come to my birthday.
Yeah.
Sunday. 5
And
p.m.
hashtag hair down.
Yeah. Drew's going to be legal to drink now.
I will be drinking. That stream is going to be legendary. I can't wait for that one.
I'm not going to be there for that.
I already got
Weird.
Cameron Pasha confirmed for that stream. By the way.
Thank you, Bruce. So are you.
Oh, I don't know if there's anybody here to drop links.
No, I can't give links, but I can hold on. All right.
Yeah. I'm actually not. I'm just viewing the chat through StreamYard as it shows us, so I'm not logged in.
If someone wants to share that, I can't. You can pretty much find me.
Yeah, Moira, you're gonna have to copy that out of the private chat and put it on.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, effort and work on your own channel.
Yeah.
That must suck. All that adult responsibility, copying and pasting. Look at her. Look at the anger in her face. She's like, I have to use the mouse, select the sentence, and copy it over? What kind of travesty is this? I didn't get white privilege for this.
Right?
Oh, come on. Come on. It's a joke. Oh, look how red she is. She's almost matching her background. If a lieutenant colonel can joke about white privilege, you can take it and make the joke too. I literally changed my hair to powder, for God's sakes.
Well, that was funny, and I'm always just, I'm so white.
You want to see some magnetic tricks?
Oh.
You got any spoons nearby? Keep me away from the lightning. It scares me.
Oh my goodness. This is Steven Seagal's channel there.
Not till tomorrow.
Let's get Shellback. Is Shellback's up here?
Oh, thank you.
Shellback's
not listed, is it? Or is
I put mine in the private chat too. So
No, I I didn't throw mine in there.
I think
Oh, you gotta.
All you gotta do is copy and paste, copy and
I
paste.
am working on it. I am.
I have to do work.
Oh, hush up. Of
Hey,
course,
don't talk to me like that. I'm only.
heretic. So that's
You don't get to talk to a woman like that.
Yeah.
I am the tassels of justice.
Sweet mercy.
I want tassels. I want tassels on my boobies.
Well, by the
This
time
is-
she gets this all worked out, I'll be able to have copy and pasted my YouTube channel. Yeah.
Thank you for the sub, Mr. Gene.
Woo!
Yeah, everyone have a great day. This was a great show. Thank you for letting me on, especially because a lot of people just don't want the guy who says weird shit.
Hey,
See, I was right. Wasn't I right, Culture? It looks better down. Yeah.
that's
Oh,
Steven.
I should have done the first place. I was like, maybe it should be like more professional. Then I was like, all right,
No, if it's down, no. The
I
down
wanted
brings
to
out the
be a
cheekbones.
surprise. I wanted it to be a little bit of a surprise. I was like, all right, let's all tear down and talk if you want.
There you go, Maura.
It is in the private chat too. So
I put mine in there. I read a news article from like 2018 yesterday. I just, instead of getting all fancy and like actually trying to make a video, I took the lazy way out and just streamed it, because it's just quicker and easier.
I like streaming.
And
that way.
I read the whole article, right? I read the whole article and I went back to the chat just to see if anybody had anything to say, and they're like, "We can't hear you." I had read an entire article on mute.
Okay, Nina.
So
no.
yeah. So I had to go back. I had to go back and reread the whole article. So I turned like a 15-minute or less video into almost like it should have been like 12 or 13 minutes, and it was like 24 minutes because I boomered it. But yeah.
Y'all are awesome.
Hello, Chrissy. Hello, Mongo.
I think we lost Drew. So we lost Drew. We love everybody. Please.
He waved before he left.
Oh, well, there might have been that. I missed that. But if y'all want to catch it on the replay, you are welcome to. Loves you all. We all love y'all all. Mwah! Big kisses to y'all. And big
Yes, kisses. I can't do that because I'll get me too'd. I can't do it.
Okay, then I'll do it.
All right.
And his awesome media guy. Mwah to him as well. Oh, and one more screen share plug thing for their YouTube channel. Hold on.
Butt Pluck Incorporated.
Oh my God, it is not. Shut up. Oh my gosh. This, Delta Action, London Center for Policy Research, which sounds fancy as fuck. You can't deny it. It sounds awesome with fancy. So, yes, go check them out and give them some love. So, all right, let me switch over back to this tab now. All right.
It kind of, I don't know, in a way, I think it kind of sucks that he's, that they're working out of New York, as far as, for the damn NRA, for whatever reason the NRA was in New York in the first place, I'll never know. But the fact that the NRA moved.
That's because that's where all the lobbyists are.
The New York, but the NRA is moving to Texas so they can actually, maybe do something, I
really don't feel the NRA really does a whole lot. I really feel like they're just kind of a talking figurehead that they half-assed. Like when Philando Castile was killed by police because he admitted to the police officer he had a gun, and he was like, I'm going to get my license for my gun to show you. And when he went to get his license to show him, they shot him full of holes. The NRA did not speak for him.
I would like to add quickly, I just won the copyright claim from Warner Brothers TV for a 30-second clip they tried to claim. So suck it, Warner Brothers. I'm going to say that right now. Because if you don't like the fact that your shows give bad messages, stop giving bad messages. That's it. Thank you, Maura. It's been great. Yep.
All right. We love you all. I'm happy to hit in broadcast, and we'll talk forever.
This thong is riding up me.
Right.